morning. I'm driving into work. I want to do my Be Humane this week, I think, right now, because I'm having a thought, and it's happening right now, and I want to get it off my chest. First of all, with all the distractions in the news right now, with Kanye West, to me is noise. It's just noise. It's noise. And I don't think you should let it be distracting to you. It should not be distracting. You should stay focused on what you got going on in your life, what you're doing, what's happening in your life. My mom always told me the village idiot is the loudest person in the room. And noise and nonsense, foolishness is always going to get more attention than a peaceful, rational, thoughtful person. It's why you don't see all the good things that are happening in the world on the news. All you see is the noise. All you hear is the noise. So if you only get your information about the world through the news and CNN or whoever's distributing it, the world's going to look to you like a very scary, dangerous place, because that's all they're feeding you. I would love it if there was some kind of news organization that distributed, a lot of the good things that are happening in the world. For example of this is Chicago. Everybody wants to talk about how there's all this black on black crime and violence, and when a white cop shoots a black person, it's all over the media. That's what they want to cover. What they don't show you are all the people on the ground doing things to stop the violence in Chicago or what's happening in the community. The people on the ground, the organizations, the people who are daily, fighting against the powers that be that are causing, all these issues, whatever that may be. And then they'll say that black people only get upset when a white cop shoots a black person. They'll try to tell you we don't get upset when a black person shoots another black person, or if it's anything other than a cop situation. That's all a lie. That's not true. That's what gets coverage in the media, and so they're trying to control the narrative as far as what black people care about. It's nonsense. We care about each other. We love each other. If you know me, you know where I stand on gun violence, no matter who it is. So, saying that just to say again, if you only get your information from the media and the news organizations or social media about the world, it's going to look to you like a very scary, dangerous place, because all they're feeding you is the noise. And I can only describe what Kanye West is doing as just noise. I've had people say to me, what's he trying to say, this and all that. I'm like, I'm not Kanye West's friend. I don't know the guy. I'm not really interested in what he's trying to say. I'm only interested in what he's saying. The people that are in his inner circle should be concerned with what he's trying to say. Maybe they can try to help him. I don't know. But me, people out here in the world, dealing with what we're dealing with on a daily basis, I have no interest in what he's trying to say. Again, I'm only interested in what he's saying, and what he's saying is a lot of nonsense and garbage. And so I've talked to a lot of people about it. I'm like, just move on. Ain't got time for that. If he's siding with people who want to hurt us, then I got no time for that. I'm not interested in what you have to say. So, something I want to point out that's coming out of this nonsense rant that Kanye went on TMZ is Kanye said 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice. And I just watched a video where I don't know who the guy is at TMZ. Maybe he's the guy in charge, the white guy who was sitting with the black guy with the dreads talking to Kanye. Whoever that white guy is had another video with that black guy who confronted Kanye. I'm sorry, I don't know everybody's names. I don't watch TMZ. So they were trying to recap what happened at TMZ and what Kanye was trying to say. And if I'm misinterpreting this, I'm sorry, but this is what I'm getting from the information that's being given to me. So the white guy was saying that Kanye West wasn't really saying 400 years of slavery was a choice, that slaves had an option to not be slaves. He kept saying that he thinks that Kanye is referring to black people having a victim mentality about slavery and how we should move on past slavery and the mentality of it. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. And I've heard this argument before from certain white people. And when I say white people, I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about specific white people. I've heard that argument from specific white people that black people have a slave mentality, victim mentality, which causes us to not make progress. And my issue with that is this. The slavery and the effects of slavery, the racism that caused slavery, the hate that caused slavery, the financial need for slavery, all of that still exists. That has not gone away. That has not disappeared. Let me say it again. The hate, the racism, the financial gain, all that caused slavery still exist. It hasn't gone anywhere. Slavery doesn't exist, but the things that caused it still exist. It's just evolved. If you haven't watched the 13th Amendment on Netflix, go watch the 13th Amendment. It's a very informative documentary. Slavery has just evolved, and one of those ways is in the prison system. I'm not going to get into that again. Watch the 13th Amendment. We see it in systemic racism. The effects of slavery still exist. That's with what you see with how the police interact with black people. You see it in segregation in cities. Like if you go for example, Memphis, Tennessee, there's a town that my cousin lives in. It's called Whitehaven. The town is called Whitehaven. Think about that. Whitehaven. That still exists. This town is still called Whitehaven. Now there's black people that live there, but cities and school districts are still broken up by segregation based on what city you live in. That's why you have a lot of black people in certain parts of the city and white people in other parts of the city. These things still exist. You see it with that. You see it in your neighborhood. Growing up, we grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. Most of our neighbors hated us and treated us like shit because we were, I think, one of two black families in our neighborhood. You see it in school. You see it in the news. You see it we see it in our daily lives every day, and we have to deal with that every day, whether we want to or not. And so you can't move past something that still exists. It is still very much alive. And I absolutely guarantee you, there are white people alive today that if we went back to slavery would have no problem with it. So in order for us to move on, again, we have to deal with the reality of the situation. This move on past slavery victim mentality conversation is nonsense to me. It's like, again, trying to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Okay? You got to get rid of the bullet before you even start to address the wound. So I think people are having, from what I'm hearing, the wrong conversation about 400 years of slavery, having a victim mentality and all this nonsense. That's really it. If you want to continue this conversation with me, hit me up on YouTube, comment. I'm talking to somebody right now on YouTube. I don't know their name. We're having a pretty good discussion, and I haven't had time to get back to them yet, but I will, talk to you and communicate with you, because through these kind of conversations, interactions, I'm learning things, you're learning things, which is good. So there you go.